Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I have another very special guest. I was introduced to her through another subscriber and her name is Shanna Stevenson. She's an expat currently living in the Dominican Republic. So welcome Shanna, and before you tell us you live in the Dominican Republic, tell us a little bit about yourself, where are you from, and what you used to do before you moved to the Dominican Republic.
Perfect. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I love talking to people. You have a wonderful channel. I was checking that out. You're doing a great job. And I certainly love the fact that you're from the Dominican Republic and you're Dominican. And thank you so much for having me on, first of all.
You're very welcome.
Second, just a little bit about myself. I'm Shanna. I go by Shan. So most people know me as Shan. I'm originally from Chicago, but I pretty much grew up in Atlanta since I was about 2 years old. So I'm a Southern girl from Atlanta. And I just celebrated my 35th birthday. What was it? Friday? Anyway, on the 13th, I just celebrated my 35th birthday. I can't even believe I'm 35 years old now. Anyway, life's just getting started for me. I'm super excited about the outlook and things to come. And yeah, I've been living in the Dominican Republic for the last 4 years. So it's a little fun fact about me.
So happy late birthday.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was great. I had all of my girlfriends here because we were kind of double duty. They threw me a bridal shower. I'm getting married soon. So they threw my bridal shower. Thank you. They threw my bridal shower the day before my birthday. So we did bridal shower, birthday, all in the weekend. It was like crazy, but it was a good time.
Okay, and what did you used to do before moving to the Dominican Republic?
Before the Dominican Republic, I've always been in some sort of sales role, marketing, sales, selling something. My last role right before I left to the Dominican Republic, I was a recruiter. So I actually sold people to jobs and jobs to people. So yeah, I've always been in some sort of sales or marketing role, but I most recently was heading up a department where I was recruiting therapists for school districts.
Okay, that's very interesting. I did that for a while here. I don't like that recruiting.
It's hard work.
I don't like recruiting at all. I did that for a little while, but
did you? Yeah,
yes,
it's hard work. It's not easy, but you know, I did pretty well at it. I made a pretty good living off of it. I did it for only like 2 years, but in that 2 years, I made a pretty good living off of that. So it was worth it, but you know, life moves on.
Oh yes, definitely.
Life moves on.
And when did you first make you visit the Dominican Republic? What made you visit the Dominican Republic?
Well, okay, so perfect. Actually, I was working. I was doing my recruiting thing. My mom's a teacher. She's a Spanish teacher, actually. So mom was kind of burnt out with with teaching. I was kind of burnt out because I was heading up a whole department at the recruiting agency that I worked for. So I was the department head, and we were both just kind of out of it, just feeling like we wanted something new. We were ready to travel. We both love to travel. So we were just trying to figure out, where did we want to go? What did we want to do? We both agreed that we wanted to go somewhere we had never gone. So somehow, out of nowhere, we were like, okay, Dominican Republic. No. I'm lying. Sorry. You know what it was? We found a deal online for the Dominican Republic. And so we decided to make that our destination because it was a pretty good deal. It was pretty affordable. And we decided to take advantage of that offer. So that's how we decided on the Dominican Republic. But it was still someplace we had never gone. And that was the main thing that we wanted to do, was try somewhere new. So yeah, that was my first visit. And that was back in 2014.
Oh, well, that was that long ago. And since you have your mom is a Spanish teacher, how's your Spanish? I mean, do you mom teach you Spanish? Did you learn from your mom or not?
Everybody asked me that, but you know what? It's not like we were at home talking Spanish over dinner or anything like that. She just literally, she kind of grew up. She traveled abroad and visited some Spanish countries and immersed herself in those cultures, and of course picked up the language. Then it was part of her plan to go into the army and be like a translator. And she got pregnant with me, and that didn't happen. But no, I really learned Spanish in school. I would say just kind of the basics. You know, I don't really feel like I learned a whole lot of Spanish in school, although I took it for several years. And my mom, you know, she would help me with some homework or something like that. But again, we weren't talking it at home or anything. So I really picked up Spanish in traveling and in the country, in the Dominican Republic. I picked up a lot of my Spanish, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Mhm.
How is the Spanish level at this moment? How is it?
You know, if you ask anybody around me, they'll say, "Oh, she's fluent in Spanish," and I will never say that I'm fluent. I don't think that I'm fluent. I feel like I have a long way to go, but I run a business in the DR, so I'm constantly talking to people who speak Spanish. I have a relationship with a Dominican man. That's all we speak is Spanish. So, I mean, I definitely get by. I definitely understand and have a good grasp of the language. Am I fluent? I don't feel that I am, but people will probably tell you that I am. I don't feel that.
That's good. During your first visit to the Dominican Republic, do you realize that you wanted to move there, or that was just a normal vacation at first?
That's a great question. When I first visited the Dominican Republic, I definitely felt something different. It was a different feeling than traveling to, you know, I've been all over London, China. I've been to China. I've been all over the Caribbean. So it was something different, I will say, about the Dominican Republic that I just really, really liked. I felt very comfortable there. I felt safe. I felt at home. I felt welcomed. So it was definitely a different feeling about the Dominican Republic than I had ever felt in some of the other places that I had traveled to. So it was, I won't say that it was like immediate, oh, I feel like I need to live here, but it was definitely like, oh, I could get used to this. I really like this feeling.
Okay, that's good. And you say that you have living in there for 4 years. What city do you live in?
I live in Punta Cana, Barbaro, which is, you know, Barbaro, Punta Cana right there. So, yeah, most people would consider it Punta Cana, but it's really called Barbaro where I actually live. Hmm. The east side of the island.
Oh, yes. At what point did you decide that you wanted to move to the Dominican Republic? And what was it about the Dominican Republic that made you feel like call that place home for you?
Well, I knew that I wanted to live in the Dominican Republic after my, I would say, the third visit. So after Mom and I visited, I came back a few times in between when I first got there and when I moved. But by the third visit, I was like, oh, I really, really like this. I feel really comfortable here. These people take very good care of me. They like me. They're not scared of me. You know, like they embrace me. And I just felt like I could make a life for myself there. So it was probably after like my third visit, I was like, I would consider living here. And I really like this place. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you went a couple times before you made the decision.
I went actually, I went the first time. Then in between the first time and me moving was only a year. It only took me 1 year from the first time that I went to when I moved there. And I went 4 times in between the first visit and moving there. I went 4 more times. So in the year, I really liked it.
And did you visit different areas in the Dominican Republic, or you always went back to the same area?
No, I would visit, I would travel. I would go to different parts of the island. One point, I spent like 2 weeks just kind of Airbnb-ing different locations all over the island. I mean, I think that's the beauty of the Dominican Republic is any place that you go on the island, you'll get a different experience, you know, in different places. And I wanted to feel that. I wanted to discover what I love so much about that place. And every place I went was just like, it just got more and more beautiful. And I was just like, I like this place a whole lot. Yeah, it was gorgeous. It's a beautiful country. I mean, you know, it definitely has its poverty-stricken areas, but it definitely also has you cannot take away how beautiful the country is. It's a beautiful country.
Yes, it is
Yeah.
beautiful. And most expats usually live in Santo Domingo or the northern coast of the island. What do you choose to live there in Punta Cana?
Oh yeah. I chose Punta Cana. I thought Punta Cana would be kind of like a good transition point. Coming from the States, I felt like being around some people who spoke my language. We're kind of used to some of the cultural things that I was used to. I just thought it would be a nice little transition point. Like I could go to Punta Cana, kind of acclimate myself to the island, and then if I wanted to move on to other parts of the island, I could do that. But I thought it would be like a happy medium because there are a lot of expats and tourists in Punta Cana, which is not necessarily what one seeks when they're moving from their country. You're not necessarily looking to move from your country to another country where you just see a bunch of people from your country. So, so it was just for me though. I felt safe. I had met some people in that area, and I decided I felt good there. So it's like it'll be a good starting point for me. That's what I thought.
Okay, yeah, something that you feel familiar, and then after you know the place, probably you will feel comfortable just to move into another area. That's a good strategy.
Yeah.
And is there is a large population of expat living in over there in Punta Cana?
Yes, Punta Cana has a large expat population. I would say not necessarily American expats, but yes, there are American expats too. But there's a huge like Russian population. There's a huge Canadian population. Um, yeah, but definitely a lot of expats in Punta Cana for sure. Yeah, African American expats. Um, we're kind of low on the totem pole, but we're definitely showing up more as far as like brown skin people. We're definitely coming more to. I'm seeing a lot more of us in Punta Cana now too.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. And I hear some of the expats saying that Punta Cana have the feeling like the Miami feeling, that you don't have the real Dominican uh, cultural feeling over there. I mean, what is your opinion on that?
I think that depends on who you ask, because again, Punta Cana it is very touristy. It is very touristy, but can you, hop to a beach? Can you eat at a local comado? I mean, at a comodore, can you go to a comado? Those things are in Punta Cana. You go just 30 minutes outside of Punta Cana, you're in like the little, Macau, which is definitely pretty, the very kind of country outside of the main city. But yeah, I mean, I can see why people would say that, but I definitely think there's some things that are in Punta Cana that are native to the entire country as a whole, and definitely feels like another country. It doesn't feel like Miami to me. But I didn't spend a whole lot of time in Miami. I kind of skipped over Miami, went straight to Dominican Republic.
You skip over that part. Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
definitely feel like I'm in a different country, and again, I've traveled all over the country too, so I see where people would say that you feel it more in other places versus Punta Cana, but I definitely feel like I'm in a different place in Punta Cana too. So.
Okay, that is good to hear. And how did your family took, or how did they react when you say that you wanted to move to the Dominican Republic?
Oh, when I told my family and my friends that I wanted to move to the Dominican Republic, it was not very surprising actually to my family or my friends, because they know that I'm sort of a wild bird. I kind of skip to the beat of my own drum. I have done things like this. I've gone to China. Actually, in deciding if I wanted to go to the Dominican Republic or where I wanted to go, it was between China and the Dominican Republic, believe it or not. Yeah,
What? Two different. I mean, what?
very different.
China, Dominican Republic.
Right. But it was between, like, that's the type of person I am. I love to try new things. I don't necessarily go with the trendy thing. I'm not really into trends. I kind of, again, I'm a wild bird. I kind of fly at my own pace and do my own thing, and I'm not afraid to take risks. I've done a lot of entrepreneurial things that have given me the freedom to do what I do, and yeah, no, my family and friend, they I won't say that they necessarily accepted it, but it wasn't surprising to them at all. And my mom, for 4 years now, she's been trying to get me to come back home. She's been trying to get me to come back home. It doesn't look like it's gonna happen really soon, anytime soon. Yeah.
Okay. And being from Atlanta, that is a big city, and then moving to Punta Cana, how did you adjust? And how is the different versus Atlanta to living in Punta Cana?
Wow. So coming from Atlanta, Atlanta's like the food scene. Atlanta is like the land of the, we call it keeping up with the Joneses. So everybody is trying to impress the other person. You know, you got to have status here in Atlanta. You know, there's a lot of money here. There is just a lot of opportunity here. There are a lot of like people on their hustle, on their grind here, me being one of those people. So I think when I went to Punta Cana, just the atmosphere by itself, living in an island country, very laid back. Everybody in Atlanta is so hustle and bustle, but very laid back. You kind of island time, you know, the whole island time thing, that's so real. And you know, nobody's on like a time clock. It's just like when things happen, they happen. Um, Food, I feel like I'm kind of getting redundant with the food choices in the DR versus like Atlanta. There's just something new all the time, everywhere. Don't get me wrong, I love my Dominican food. I love it. And I can eat my rice and beans and be just fine. But, you know, there's just a whole, it's just a bigger space here in Atlanta. So it's just a lot more food options. But just the pace, I would say just the daily pace of the grind. I don't experience that so much as I did when I lived in Atlanta. I don't feel like I have to keep up with the Joneses in the Dominican Republic. Like I am the Joneses. I'm doing well. I'm living my life the way I want to live it, and you know, I'm now trying to help encourage people to do the same thing with their lives. Right.
Yeah, I think that is in general, even Atlanta and even all the cities, that's the life here. It's kind of, I mean, it's a different thing
It's a
how you
different,
live over there like, versus where you live here in the United States.
absolutely.
And what is the hardest thing for you to adjust over there in the Dominican Republic?
Oh, wow. The hardest thing to adjust, I would say the time thing, just having this new perspective that things don't always run on time. Things don't always go according to a plan. You know, like I was always very oriented, like fixed schedule, doing this at this time, doing this at this time. Okay, well then if he can be here at this time, then I'm gonna wait and do. You know, like I was just very fixed on a schedule and being punctual and knowing when things were going to happen, and you just don't have that control in this country. You don't have
Yes,
that.
you don't have, yeah, you don't have that. Like you say, when things happen, it happened when it happened. It just,
And you
yeah.
roll with it. You roll with it. Like you can't do anything about it. So you just chill out. I've become a little bit more like that now. Like I'm, oh, whatever, it
You just
happened.
take
Yeah.
it easy because if you know you're just gonna have a heart attack, everything's gonna keep doing what they're doing over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And how were you treated by the local?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna tell you, the locals treat me so good. Seriously, when I think about it, I just wanna it kind of it gets me because I didn't realize I could feel treated better in another country that wasn't my own. That's not my own country. I feel treated better. I feel more respected. I feel more cared for, welcomed, embraced in this country, in the Dominican Republic, than I do in my home country. And that makes me kind of sad to say. I'm kind of sad to say that, but when I speak my truth, that's my truth. I feel very welcomed and safe, and I feel that was one of the things that brought me to the country. Actually, that was one of the things that made me choose the Dominican Republic over China. Was I felt like the people genuinely would give the shirts off of their back for me, when in fact they don't. Some of them don't even have shirts. You know, like they're very. Some of them are very poor, but they would still give and try to accommodate me and my American self, despite what they may or may not have. So yeah, it was a genuine feeling of just I feel really good here, and they treat me very, very, very well, very well. Yeah.
And you ever felt like you was taken advantage of?
Let me see. I can give you, like, in big cases, no, I can give you some small cases where, maybe I was out shopping and someone tried to charge me a little bit more because of my American privilege, or because I, speak English and I'm an American. Those are like little cases. And because I live in Punta Cana, that's kind of typical. Tourists get charged more. It's pretty typical and pretty standard. Um, but outside of just like normal being charged for some little trinket or something I wanted to buy, I never really felt like I've been taken advantage of in the Dominican Republic.
And that will happen. I know that to be true. I mean, if they know that you are American, if they see that, if they will try
They will
to
try.
sell it to you a little expensive, or let you say no, 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 and then if you probably try to leave, probably they will change their mind. But yeah, they will try that. I
They will
know.
try. But after 4 years, I don't. They can't get me. They all know me now, so they know. No,
They can try it anymore.
No.
Say, I'm Dominican now, so.
That don't work anymore. Yeah.
Okay. And Punta Cana is probably one of the most expensive cities to live in. How is the cost of living over there in Punta Cana?
Yeah, you're right. Punta Cana, I always tell people, it's probably the most expensive place on the island to live, and of course, I chose that place, right? But in comparison to the cost of living in the States, I still feel like I'm getting a deal. I always feel like, yeah, there's some things that I wouldn't pay as much for, even things like water. Water is like 10 times more expensive in Punta Cana, Barbaro, than it is in the capital. And it's still very inexpensive compared to the States, but it would be even less expensive if we were outside of Punta Cana. So yeah, I feel like the cost of living for me is super manageable. I'm blessed. I'm grateful to the life that I'm able to live in Punta Cana, and I don't have a large budget or anything like that. I'm not doing anything super. I'm not living like a queen or anything. But for me, it's just the payoff and the what I do pay is much cheaper than what I would be paying living in Atlanta or when I lived in Atlanta. So it's a better situation for me. But not everything is cheap. A lot of people think that everything in the Dominican Republic is cheap, and that is not the case, because a lot of things are, what I tell people is, a lot of things are imported. So there's a lot of, like, my favorite cereal is $6 in the grocery store. I would never pay that for it here in Atlanta. So, a lot of people get that confused. While the cost of living is really manageable and doable, everything's not cheap in the Dominican Republic. So.
Yeah, like fruit and vegetables, stuff like that, because you grow over there, it's gonna be cheap. But then some of the things that you are used to coming from here are not that cheap, because we have to import all this stuff over there. Yeah,
Right.
and then clothes. I mean, clothes is very expensive over there.
Clothing is very expensive in the Dominican Republic. In fact, I usually order my stuff online and have it shipped, or I just get it when I take a visit to the States. I just get everything when I go. I rarely shop for things in the Dominican Republic when it comes to like clothing. Yeah, I'll just do a haul and bring it all back at one time, and then I have my clothes. Very, very rarely will I buy something in the Dominican Republic. Yeah, not because I haven't seen cute things. It's just they definitely have cute selection, but I feel like I can get a better quality and pay less in the States than in the Dominican Republic, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes sense. Yeah, a lot of Dominicans do buy online and have a PO box here in Miami just to have it cheaper from here to over there. Because here you can find better quality. You can find things on sale. We rarely find anything on sale over there. They never have no sale. They what it is. That is, yeah.
It's
better in here.
Why is that? Why is that, do you think?
I don't know. They didn't have no sale in the store. I mean, clothing store, they never have sale. Here you can find sales everywhere.
Oh yeah, like it's a definite difference. And so that's why I will always tell people, just wait until you take a visit to the States, because you can go to wherever you go. I don't know, a lot of people don't want to shop at Walmart, but you can definitely shop clearance racks and all that sort of thing and have such a huge selection versus there in the country. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And what is one thing that you don't like about the Dominican Republic? And if it would you change that, it will make like life easier. What would that be?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this might sound crazy or mosquitoes. But the mosquitoes. Oh man. I know we have mosquitoes here in the States, but there's something about those Dominican mosquitoes, and like they are smart. They are super smart.
Yeah.
They will mess up a really good meal. So I always say like, because there's all these outdoor dining options in the Dominican Republic, which is great. You can overlook the beach or wherever you are. But boy, a mosquito comes, he doesn't let you go. He just picks the mosquito. So yeah, that would be my answer.
Yeah, the mosquito are something serious. They're big, and those big dark mosquitoes, they bite. They
Where
so
did
hard.
y'all come from? Where did you come from, mosquito? Yeah,
Yes, yes.
the mosquitoes. Gosh. And then in my neighborhood, they actually spray. Like we fumigate. I'm thinking, well, what would happen if they didn't fumigate? Because we still have mosquitoes after fumigation. But wow, I mean, they're pretty. They're crazy. They're crazy.
Yes. So now let's change the subject a little bit. Let's talk about your business. What is the name of your business, and what type of service do you offer?
Awesome. So my business is called Trip with Shan. So that's my name, Shanna. Trip with Shan is a full boutique travel agency. So I do a full service boutique travel agency. And what I basically do is plan trip itineraries from top to bottom. So anything that people want to do, cruises, land trips, train trips, I do all of that. Now, as I've been in the Dominican Republic and I've seen my business grow there, I kind of have made my niche, and I don't want to say limited myself to the Dominican Republic, but I do about 80% of my business comes from people coming to the Dominican Republic. And because of that, I have basically found a whole new area of opportunity to expand the business. And a lot of people come to me for transitions. I call it transition services. That's people who are wanting to make the transition from the United States or from another country and come over to the Dominican Republic, and they kind of need like the blueprint to follow. And so they see my videos or they've heard about me from someone and they say, well, Shanna, how did you do that? So I've actually incorporated that into my business as far as just helping people transition from their country over to the Dominican Republic. At least if they're thinking about it, I'm a resource to them. I can answer some questions for them, and help them with some resources and things of that nature. So I kind of do a lot of everything here. I do a lot of trips, tours, excursions, planning, events. I can help with real estate. I can help with, putting you in touch with the right banker or lawyer, or even if you need someone to sew up a dress, a seamstress. I just have a bunch of connections that people can take advantage of and utilize if they don't know. When I came here, I didn't necessarily have a person that could just literally sit me down and show me, okay, Shanna, this is what you need to do to get yourself acclimated. I asked a bunch of questions. I ask a lot of questions because that's my nature. But I didn't have someone that just said, okay, I'm going to take you under my wing and we're going to make sure that you're okay. And you're going to go through this at this point. And at this point, you're going to need to open this and do this. I didn't have that. So I said, and I had a lot of people asking me those types of questions. Well, how do you do it? So I decided to, really take advantage of that opportunity. And now I'm a really great resource for a lot of people who come to the country. Um, and just to go a step further, I actually offer housing. So people come and rent my Airbnbs. They can stay with one of my Airbnb properties. And actually, I allow them to see the country. I say, you need to stay off the resorts. Come stay in one of my Airbnb properties and actually see the real country. I take them out. We go eat, we go mingle with the locals. I show them a good time. We do some socializing, some entertaining, but also if they have some business questions and they want to look at real estate, we can go and do those sorts of things as well. So it's become a pretty big, big business here.
Oh, that's great. So you have more than one Airbnb. You have all of them over there in Punta Cana. Do you have them in Punta Cana, or do you have any other area besides Punta Cana?
Well, I have my own. Like I actually have my own in Punta Cana. but I'm connected with people all over the island and can do housing all over the island. So if someone needed a place in Puerto Plata or Santo Domingo or, wherever, Santiago, there's definitely, I have contacts in each of those places that I've utilized and referred my clients to for those services or for those properties or that housing solution. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's great information. And did you have the business idea? You came to Dominican Republic with that business idea, or that's something that came up about you living there?
No, actually, I remember it being like, no. So to answer your question, no, that did not happen before I was here or before I was in the Dominican Republic. I did not have that idea. It came from being in the Dominican Republic and actually growing bored, if you can believe that. Like month 3 or 4, I started getting like, okay, how many more times can I go to the beach? How many more times can I go, like out to the club tonight? And it just became this thing where I was like missing home. I was missing my friends. I was missing kind of my culture, because that culture shock was setting in, because it does. Culture shock will eventually set in and you'll be like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Oh my gosh, I came to a whole third world country and, like, what is going on? So I decided instead of like running, because I really literally almost thought to just go back home. But instead of running, I said, you know what? I'm going to bring people to me. So I decided to open up my home and allow tourists to come and book the extra bedroom that I had in my apartment. And from there, it was like, okay, well, Shanna, we're here now. What do we do? And I was like, see what you can do. So I started taking people out, and we, from there it was like booking them excursions. From there it was like, okay, we need a place to go eat. Okay, well, let me set that up for you. So it became like a referral business right off the bat. And then they would go back home. They would tell their friends and family, oh, you got to contact Shan when you go to Dominican Republic. She's great. And it just became a word of mouth type sort of roller coaster. So I said, this sounds like a business. Let me create something. So I created a website and I created all the social channels. So At Trip with Shan is what grew from that.
Yeah. Very interesting. And I know that you say that you just don't want to focusing in the Dominican Republic. What other countries do your business stay in? What other country do you offer that service?
So I will really book anybody anywhere they want to go. I was planning Africa for a client. I've planned all over the country. I mean, all over the world. There's no place that I really, except for Cuba. I don't do a lot in Cuba right now because of our president, but that's a whole nother episode. So I would say the majority of my clients, about 90% of my clients are American, that are looking to go to the Caribbean, whether that be on cruise or on land. But then I also do Europe, and I've done some Asia too. So I'm open to everything, but I have really found that my hot spot and what people really love about me is that I'm right here in the Dominican Republic on the ground. And I like them and they trust me, and they've heard good things, they've read my reviews, and so they find that it makes sense. Let me go visit her. A lot of people want to visit me, they want to meet me, and they want me to personally take them around. And I had gotten so busy at some point that I was like, oh goodness, I have to expand this, or I have to hire some people, or I have to, like it was getting to the point of just really craziness, which is great. I'm not complaining. And then the whole big situation with the tourism in the Dominican Republic hit, and that really has made a huge impact on tourism in the country, and it made an impact on my business too. So we're recovering, but it definitely made an impact on the whole country as a whole. It was crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
But is it better now after that? Is it going better now, or is it still kind of slow?
Well, I talk, no matter where I am, I talk to people about the Dominican Republic because it's my pleasure, and I feel like I have the opportunity to talk to people and get in their minds and really tell them, listen, I'm an American, I'm a Black American, I live in the Dominican Republic. This is what was going on the ground floor there. I know what you're hearing in the media, and it's just not, it's just, I don't want to say it's not true, because, those things, there were deaths in the Dominican Republic. But the way that they blew it up, the mass media craze, was just overdone. It was just way, way overdone. And so I feel like I can be a voice for the Dominicans, even though I'm not Dominican. I feel like I can still be a voice. I very much care about the country. I very much care about the people. There's this stigma against the country now, and especially when it comes to dark skin or black people, there's this stigma that they have against the Dominican Republic, and I really feel very, I feel very sure that I feel like I need to speak on that because I feel so contrary to what they feel and what the talk has been about the Dominican Republic. So I feel it's my duty to share my views and my perspectives.
And you know what? I usually ask that question about how you feel being, I mean, you are black and you there, because people usually have ask that question. But it's something that I don't know, I don't like want to talk about it anymore, because that's something that it doesn't even make sense to me how people would feel any type of way over there, where we are in a country where most people is dark skin. We are, I mean, our roots are part of Africa. We, most of them people over there, we are dark skin. So, but people have that thing where they feel like, oh, I'm gonna be, I mean, people over there are racist. They don't like black people, but yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
people have to go. I feel like people have to go over there, get their own experience, and then see what they can see by themselves. Because there ain't no other way. If you just hear what people be saying, people always have opinion. People, they have opinion even before or even when they don't know anything. So the best thing is just go over there, have your own experience, and then you will have your own opinion.
Come trip with Shan. They need to come trip with Shan so I can really expose them to.
Yeah.
You know?
Shan show you the area, and then she will tell you the good places to go over there.
That's right. That's right. Come live it. Come see it. Don't just follow what people are saying. Yeah, absolutely.
And was it easy to start a little business over there? Anything that people may need to know for some people that may want to start a business over there?
Yeah. So I do feel like the ease of entry to starting a business is easier in the Dominican Republic. I do feel that way. For me, I'm a 1099, so I'm a independent contractor. You know, I basically have my home-based travel agency company based in the United States, and so I work under that license, and I just happen to work from the Dominican Republic because that's where my dwelling is. That's where I live. But I definitely have a lot of colleagues and a lot of friends and business partners that have actually gone through the steps and gone through the processes to register and do their things in the Dominican Republic, which is super duper important and can be a task. It can be a task. I mean, it's not a whole lot. It doesn't cost a whole lot to get started, but it can be a task just because of the island mentality of, you know, you go and wait. You go somewhere, you gotta wait, and they send you somewhere else and you gotta wait some more. You know, it can be a task, but once you get it done, you know, it's done and good to go. Business opportunities galore in the country. I feel like just about anything you could think of is needed and could do well, you know, with the right execution. There's so many ideas that I have had since starting Trip with Shan. I have just had just a swarm of ideas, and if I had the right capital, you know, we would definitely be going in on some different ideas and things because there's a lot of opportunity there. But business is great. I see new businesses popping up all the time in Punta Cana. I mean, Punta Cana it's crazy. You know, with the tourism, the way that the tourism came and has dwindled, that hasn't had any effect from what I've seen. Just, you know, on a daily basis riding through. New construction, homes, residences popping up everywhere, new restaurants, like business hasn't stopped. Business hasn't stopped, and there's so much opportunity there for business.
Very good. And what is some of the challenges that you face running your business there?
Well, the biggest one is just because tourism's the number one industry in the country, And so when tourism is down, it's pretty much like a recession. You know, I call it a mini recession. I feel like the DR is going through like a mini recession right now, which has really hurt some of the businesses. And I've definitely felt it as well. But so I would just say tourism. When tourism is low, things are low. But it makes, for me, it allowed me the time to be creative in other areas. It allowed me the time to kind of sit back because I had gotten so busy working. I forgot, hey, I live on a beautiful island. Let me go out and enjoy this place. I had gotten to the point with just working back to that, almost back to that Atlanta mindset of work, which is kind of what I was trying to get away from. So some of the challenges is just, just realizing that, island time again is a real thing, and tourism is a huge influence on the, especially in Punta Cana, tourism is a huge influence on the market. So those could be some challenges, just trying to adjust to the new cultural norms and the change in the ebbs and the flows of tourism. Yeah.
Okay, and great. So do you have a website? What is the name of your website and what can we find in there?
Okay, so my website is just as my company name. It's www.trip, TRIP, with WITH, Shan, SHAN.com. There you will find all things related to travel. Actually, we are about to revamp the entire website. I'm hoping that in the next 2 to 3 weeks, the whole website will be completely different because, again, I'm transitioning over to doing some other things, and I want those to be more reflective of my website. Right now, my website is all things travel, which is great. You can book me for if you need a travel agent. I'm here to help you. If you want to do some tours, I'm here to help you. But I want my website to reflect all the other things that I'm able to do and the other resources that I can be as far as getting you transitioned over to this country and giving you some advice. So that'll be coming up in the release, which will be happening in like 2 or 3 weeks. We should be ready.
So besides supporting an expat, what trip we Shan offer different than other companies just like you in Punta Cana?
Yeah, well, I always say that there could be no other trip with Shan. Literally, I'm Shanna. No one else could have, I wouldn't be with anybody else. But the majority of my business comes from word of mouth. So a lot of times I don't give out my website because it is so focused on the travel agency side. And most people want to talk to me because of my experience in the country, and they want to figure out how to transition over. And that's why I decided, for one, to revamp my website because it needs to reflect that. But for two, I feel like that is my secret weapon. It's just myself. There is no other me. I have the ground floor experience. I've lived it for 4 years. The good, the bad, the beautiful. And, so I'm able to, if I haven't experienced it myself, you can trust and believe I've heard a story or 2 or 5 different stories of, the craziness that the country can be. So it's not, I always say it's not all pineapples and coconuts because, it is the Dominican Republic and there are some things that also happen. I've heard, I could write a book on all the stories that I've heard, but, there's me. I'm the piece. I'm the link. I love talking to people. I love sharing with people, and somehow people trust me, and that's a good thing. And I want to be a resource to people. So yeah, I think that's the difference.
Yeah, that's it. And everywhere, I mean, you can hear some horrible story because it's danger everywhere. So yeah, it's
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anywhere. There's dangers in the U.S., right? I mean,
yeah.
Again, I feel safer in the Dominican Republic than I did in the U.S. So to me, that speaks volumes.
What are other business opportunities that you have noticed in Punta Cana? Just for our viewers, if we have somebody that probably may want to move to Punta Cana and start a business.
Okay. No, I feel like, and I've come across, because I get a lot of clients, and I'm always getting asked that question. Well, Shanna, I'm a physical therapist. Do you think there's a need for physical therapy here? or I'm a hairstylist. Do you think I could work here? Or almost anything. I'm serious. Like, I've never been in such a place where I just was like, I'm almost to the point of like overwhelmed by all the ideas that I think of and all the necessity that there is here. Like, I'm not, no kidding. Like, anything you can think of. I was thinking like somebody could come down from Atlanta and make fried chicken just because it's Atlanta fried chicken, and there's no other place that makes Atlanta fried chicken here. Or a physical therapy. I have a family that I'm very close to here in the Dominican Republic that has a very sick son. One of the sons is very sick, meaning like he can't even move by himself. And he needs physical therapy, but there's no programs really that would allow him to receive physical therapy that he needs without them having to pay like a daily fee, which they cannot afford. So, just programs that could be implemented. Someone who cared enough to come volunteer and do some service. There's a lot of volunteer work that can be done. Almost any aspect of business you can think of could be utilized here. I mean, food for sure, the arts, the hair. There's an idea that I have. I want to start a bridal shop. That's as a new bride. I realized like the closest ones are in Santo Domingo. Okay, so we had to go to Santo Domingo, which is almost two and a half hours away from me, to just, look at a bridal shop, and that shouldn't be the case in Punta Cana. I'm like, there should be a bridal shop in Punta Cana. So this is an idea that, I'm looking at. There's just a lot. There's a lot of them. A lot.
So guys, I think that you will need is to take a trip with Shan, and then she will show you around and you can feel it for yourself. I mean, if you see, when you're there and you can see, you can have your own idea, because when you are in a place, you just start thinking and see what is missing, and then you can have your own ideas. Oh, I can do this. I can have this.
Yes, I agree.
So changing a little bit the subject and a little bit more.
Okay.
I don't want to get too personal, but did you marry a Dominican man?
I did. Yes. My husband is Dominican. He's from the capital. He's from Santo Domingo. We married in August. So we're newlyweds. And we just did like a little courthouse wedding. But I also wanted a wedding. So we got married in a courthouse, but I wanted a wedding, an actual wedding. And so we'll do our wedding in December. Sorry, I got all tongue tied there. We'll do a December wedding in Punta Cana.
That sounds great. And how did you two meet?
Ooh. So this is a great story. I'll keep it short. But we actually met because I had an ex-boyfriend that was in another. I had a Dominican ex who I still am very close to his family, and we have no bad blood or anything like that. So I could talk to him. I don't really talk to him, but this particular day, he had to go to the hospital, and I was visiting him and his family in the hospital. And I was leaving the hospital that day. I was actually leaving the hospital from visiting with them. And I was coming home. I was tired because I had clients that day too. So I was trying to fit in a hospital visit, working with clients, and probably a million other things that I was doing that day. But I just remember, I know what it was. My mom was visiting. So my mom was actually in town too. So I was just super busy. Didn't have a whole lot of time to spend with my mom who was visiting. So I felt bad about that. And I remember her being at home sick and coming to the house just ready to like see my mom. She's visiting. We're going to have some fun. I'm going to bring her some food. And I pull up to the house, and there's this guy outside working on the apartment unit to the side of my apartment unit. And so automatically, like, he looks, I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. Because you know how the men are. They're like, here we go. So I'm like, let me see how I can just turn him down real quick, and move on with my life. So I get out the car, and he's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm not feeling it at all. I was really kind of rude, and I don't like to be rude, but I was tired and just ready to go in, and he wouldn't let me. He would not let me, and so I was like, it was a hot day. He worked for the electricity company, the city, so he was out in the hot sun working. He was like, well, can you get me some water? Which turned out to be a joke, because I went to go get him water, and then later I found out he had a big thermos of water in his work van. He does that every single day when he goes to work, so he didn't need any water. He just did that to buy himself some time with me. Anyway, long story short, this guy who it was so annoying to me, who actually turned out to be a beautiful, beautiful person inside and out, turns out to be my husband now. And it all started with him just being the annoying electric guy. Yeah. Yeah.
And were you looking for, well, you said that you have a previous Dominican boyfriend. So were you looking, I mean, when you moved over there, were you looking for a relationship in the Dominican Republic?
So I really have always been the girl who's had very long-term relationships. So all of my relationships have been very, 2 years plus. And so I'm a very loyal woman. And and I'm speaking about my American boyfriends. When I went to the Dominican Republic, dating was really not on my mind. I knew that the men were attractive. I knew that they were, they're open. That I knew that they would be open to talking to me. Because just from the visits that I had in the past, I knew that, how they were, pretty aggressive and persistent and things like that. So I knew that there would be opportunity, but was I looking for it? No, I wasn't, but I did date. And I had fun with it. I had a good time dating, but it was different with my husband. He was very different from the other men that I had taken the time out to just even consider dating them. And when I say date, I'm just like, we hung out, went out a few times. That was it. But no, this guy actually pursued. He courted. He, learned family, and he did things that I would expect from a husband. He did the things that I would want my husband, the type of person I wanted for my husband to do. So,
And so he was different from the other guys that you.
Yeah. Still annoying. Still very annoying in the beginning, but we got past that. And now I'm glad he was annoying that day. I'm very grateful that he was persistent and annoying that day, because it made an impression for sure.
That made the difference. So what is different that you can say between guy from Atlanta versus Dominican guy? I know it's gonna be plenty different, but one that is stand out to you.
I can't even say, because the difference between American and Dominican. I mean, obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is just social class, like economic class, the money. But because you can't say looks. I mean, yes, Dominican men are very, very handsome, but there's American men that are super duper beautiful as well. So I can't even be like, they're beautiful men, but they're beautiful men everywhere. I would say that, definitely the way that they are with you, they're very complimentary. I like the fact that they're very complimentary. They're very sweet and romantic as far as just their everyday talking. It's not, honestly, I have found that it's not necessarily that they are, they do call, Latin men, romantic men, but like my husband's not that romantic. He's really not that romantic, but he's sweet. The things that he says are sweet. Mi amor, the mi amor, how that is. So the Latin men love to use those sweet words in terms of endearment, more so than I would say than American men. But then, you have American men that are also sweetheart and dear, so I would just say the biggest difference would probably be just how they are initially. Like, they're very aggressive or persistent initially and up front, like more than I was accustomed to in the States. And then, of course, the economic level is just on a whole different playing field for the most part in the DR. Yeah.
Yes.
You have to
Yeah,
look at other things.
that is
Yeah, you have to look at other things because the money is not going to be what gets you excited about a Dominican man usually. Yeah.
unless there is a rich guy, but other than that, yeah, that point gonna get you excited because the type of money that you made over there is way different.
Quite different. Yeah. So you have to look at other things, and other things have to overcompensate for the money because, and my man, luckily has a good job, a decent job, but he compensates in other ways that are so much more rich to me for my life and more fulfilling than money would be. So that's what works for us.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. And what are you planning? Are you planning moving back to the state in some point?
Who knows what the future holds, but right now I am so happy and content in the Dominican Republic. What I would like to do before we are considering going back to the United States, honestly, there's other countries I would like to travel to, check out with my husband. Let's do some traveling. I love to travel. I didn't come to the DR to get stuck in the DR and just stay. I actually still want to do some traveling, and I would love to now do that with my husband. So I think we're gonna plan to do some traveling, and if the United States, I would definitely like to show him, where I was born and grew up and that side of life. But I don't know about coming back to the United States anytime soon. We could, or we just don't have that planned right now. So who knows?
Okay, very good. It's definitely traveling is very good. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we're actually working on some business opportunities together. So we're exploring some business options, and like I said, there's so much opportunity there. So depending on how those things go, we may, that'll kind of determine where the future heads takes us.
Okay, and now changing the subject again. I know that you recently started a YouTube channel with another three other American expat calling Ebony Ladies in DR. Tell us a little bit about the channel and what is the purpose.
Okay, wonderful. Yes. So yeah, we just got finished airing our second episode. So it's a brand new show. It features me and three other ladies from the United States. And we are all African American ladies. And we have decided to just get together and have like a good girlfriends time and share all about our experiences from the Dominican Republic. We all have different perspectives. We all have different times. I think I have the most time because I'm the vet. I have the most time in the country. So some of them are like 2 months in, a year in, and I'm at 4 years in. So it's just all about our experiences, and we're answering viewer questions and just having a really good time talking about life in the DR. Ebony Ladies in the DR is the name, and we do have a YouTube channel on Facebook and Instagram. And you can find us at Ebony Ladies in the DR.
All right, thank you. And how people can find you online? Tell you YouTube, Facebook, IG.
Yeah. We have so everything is online. So Trip with Shan and Ebony Ladies in the DR are all on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So both of those you can find on all of those channels. Yes.
And one last question. Why should people move to the DR?
This is good. Well, I think people should move. I can't tell people why they should move to the DR. Why did I move to the DR? I moved because I found a place that actually made me feel better about life. It actually gave me a brand new outlook on what life could really be. And what I thought life was not necessarily what life is. I thought that life was going to school, getting a good job, working all the time, elevating in positions at work and making a lot of money. I thought that was the American dream. And when I achieved all of that, I realized this is not the American dream or maybe it is the American dream, but it's not Shanna's dream. And so Yeah, and so I found a way, and I decided to take that bold step and to leave that all behind. I sold my house, I sold my car, I got rid of a lot of my material possessions. I left behind family, I left behind friends. I packed up myself and my dog, and we moved to the Dominican Republic, and we started a brand new life. And it wasn't that I was running from anything, but I was running in search of something more. And I have found that in my 4 years of being in the Dominican Republic. And it hasn't been easy, but it has been so worth it. And so I say that to say, for anybody that is looking for a different pace of life, or they want something more from their life, step out on faith, give it a shot. Don't tell yourself you're making a life change. Just make a small change. Like, instead of me saying I'm moving to the Dominican Republic and that's it, I said I'm going to give it 6 months. I'm going to give it 6 months, and if it doesn't work out, I'm going to implement my plan B. And that's exactly what I did. So I took it in small doses. I didn't say I was moving there permanently. I just said, I want to move somewhere else. Is it going to be China? Is it going to be the Dominican Republic? I did some research. I talked to some people, and then I, visited several times before I made the move. That's what I was telling you. I visited like 4 or 5 times before I even moved there. Found out where I wanted to be, met a few people in those areas, and I just took it like that. And I would encourage people, if you want to change in life, just take a small, make a small change, get yourself prepared for, making a bigger change, and then just do it. And the worst case scenario is it doesn't work out. You have your plan B, you fall back on plan B. Do it. Let Trip with Shan help you. If you have any questions, at Trip with Shan. I would love to be a resource. Yeah.
Yeah, you heard it, guys. So if you have any questions, just ask Shan. She will help you with the answer that you're looking for. And is there anything that you would like to add to this interview?
Well, I think that again, I appreciate you having me on. I would definitely love, I'm going to start doing a few more videos and getting more out there too on my own YouTube channel. So please, guys, subscribe to at Trip with Shan on YouTube. And I think this form is great. I love the fact that you interview people in the Dominican Republic. And I saw your video on the Mama Juana. I love that drink that's really popular and probably famous in the Dominican Republic. So no, I just appreciate you having me on and giving me the opportunity to speak to your viewers. Thank you.
You're welcome. It was a very pleasure for me to have you on my channel as well. And I would like to have the Ebony ladies too in my channel. So.
We would love it. We will do that. Yes, definitely, for sure.
Okay. So guys, that is all what I have today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also go and check our channel out, subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.
Bye.